Shalom. Shalom and welcome. This is Extinction Protocols, Preparing for Transitions. It is a series of messages that are addressed to those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, Yahuwah, and accept that Yahusha is Messiah, our Mashiach. It is to those who I believe will represent the 144,000, 12,000 from each of the tribes of true Yasharal, and multitude, whom I believe is also representative of true olive trees and golden lampstands. Today is May 19th, 2014. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah. This segment of Extinction Protocols is entitled Consider the Trees. Consider the trees. Allow me to define the word protocol. It is a system of rules that explain the correct conduct and procedures to be followed in formal situations. I am compelled to believe this new series will prove to reflect necessary protocols as they relate to man's extinction, or it could be worded as a time of man's transition. Pray and watch. My brothers and sisters, end-time prophecies make mention of drought, famine, pestilence, disease, among many other things. Man has neglected the opportunity to appreciate the most valuable things from our Creator and Almighty Father Yahuwah. Valuable things such as fresh air, fresh water, food and shelter, or habitable places. Soon, end-time conditions will produce the most trying times ever before witness, and we will discover it will be times of forced transitions. Forced movement. Consider those who are being forced from their homes as this message is presented. In the United States, specifically California and Texas, there are people gradually experiencing wildfires and forced to move. There are people being forced to move due to drought. In Brazil, the largest country in South America, roughly 140 cities are without fresh water, forcing people to migrate to where there is rain and drinkable water. Let us not be remiss. The same drought conditions exist through other parts of Africa and through parts of Africa and other parts of the planet. Extreme floodings are erupting in parts of Europe like never before. In other parts of the world, flooding is forcing people out of their homes, especially in the UK, in Serbia, and various other parts of Europe, as parts of Western Europe is inundated with water as a result of global warming and climate change. While there is much that can be said regarding the Earth's habitable places rolling up like a scroll, and how all eyes will soon be on the region where life began, this segment is dedicated to coming away from taking trees for granted. Yes, we have taken trees for granted, my brothers and sisters. Trees play a vital role in our atmosphere, and without significant number of trees to absorb the CO2 in the atmosphere, our fresh air is challenged. Trees also provide many other valuable resources, such as producing fruits or nuts. Yes, my brothers and sisters, trees can be used for heat. Trees can be used for markers to identify where fresh air and fresh water lies. Consider the trees, my brothers and sisters, the trees that are provided by the Almighty Father Yahuwah for many reasons, beginning with their contribution to clean, fresh air and food. We will come to realize the simplest of things that we've neglected will soon be missed greatly. With forced transitions over the horizon, we will find ourselves appreciating the importance of trees for many reasons. My brothers and sisters, you who are among those who believe there will be in the ranks of individuals who will participate in the final exodus to a safe place, please consider these words carefully. Consider the trees. Allow me to read the following, and I ask you to just ponder on physical and spiritual aspects of a tree or trees. Genesis 1:11 and 12 reads, And Elohim said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the plant that yields seeds, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it came to be, and the earth brought forth grass, the plant that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Trees, my brothers and sisters, the fruits, the nuts of the trees. Do we not eat these? Leviticus 26, 2-4 read, guard my Shabbats and reference my set-apart place. I am Yahuwah. If you walk in my laws and guard my commands and shall do them, then I shall give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its crops, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. My brothers and sisters, trees play a significant role in the survival of us from a practical and natural perspective. But let us look at a spiritual side to trees. Psalms 1, 2, and 3 reads, blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prosper. Revelation 7:3 reads, saying, do not harm the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of Elohim upon their foreheads. Revelation 11:4 says, these are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that are standing before Elohim of the earth, referencing the 2 witnesses of Revelation. By now, one should be able to accept that trees have a vital importance in our life towards our final end, whether it's spiritual or physical. Allow me to reread Leviticus 26:4, Psalms 1:3, and 11:4. Leviticus 26:4 said, and I shall give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its crops, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Psalms say, for he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prosper. In Revelation say, these are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that are standing before Elohim in the earth. My brothers, as we begin our travels, know this: where there are trees, chances are the air quality will be good. Where there are healthy trees, chances are food is nearby, whether it is fruit from the trees or acceptable birds that we can eat that rest on the tree, or an animal resting in the shade of a bush that is acceptable to eat. Food will probably be present where there are healthy trees. I ask that you begin considering the trees, because soon and very soon we will come to know their importance as our journey from one point to the next continues on until we reach that final destination, until our final exodus becomes widespread and clear. The conveniences we know now will be disrupted during end-time prophecies. Intensity, and as we begin end-time prophecies, intensity, and as we begin to journey and continually look for food, trees will play a vital role. Trees will not only be indicators where there is food, there will also be good for shelter from the heat. There will be instances where we will even come to realize trees will aid in crossing rivers and streams. Remember, there are some trees where the logs will float and be used as a flotation device for the non-swimmer or the tired swimmer, and will prevent many from drowning as we cross rivers and streams that are not dried up. In many cases, there will be dried up streams where we will cross them because they would be dry ground. My brothers and sisters, believe it or not, chaos will break out, and roadways and railways and other pathways will become just congested. Yes, people out of hunger will be running to and fro, frantic, desperate, many in fear, and some will be following righteous guidance, those who will barely make it because they waited too late. But believe it or not, my brothers and sisters, there will be those who will find themselves crossing streams to get to a safe place, or what is perceived to be a safe place. Consider the trees. In cases where abrupt flooding will occur, a tall tree could make a difference. I realize many of you, if not most of you, may dismiss these words in this segment as being of non-importance, but I am confident there will be times when these words will come to your remembrance and be fruitful to your survival, our survival, or to the survival of others. I strongly encourage you to discuss these matters with your children, loved ones, those among your fellowships. Instructions and warnings do come with a purpose. Now let's consider the spiritual side regarding trees or trees. Again, I will read Psalms 1:3 and 11:4. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water that yields its fruits in season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prospers. Speaking of a man, my brothers and sisters, a man that is obedient, a man who follows after the righteousness of the Most High Father. 11:4, these are the 2 olive trees and 2 lampstands that are standing before Elohim in the earth. What do you think the characteristics of a person being as a tree planted by the rivers of water resemble? I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, a person who is as a tree planted by the rivers of water represent one who is near to the living words of our Almighty Father Yahuwah, through a set-apart spirit sent in Yahushua's name. He is one who fits such description, and he is one that will demonstrate proof that we will witness the characteristics of chosen leaders of Yahushua Messiah emerge before us as they begin to lead us during our final exodus. Pray and watch. Allow me to pose the other question. What have you come to expect regarding those who I believe will be the last 2 shepherds of Yasharal, who are most commonly known as the 2 witnesses of Revelation? It is clear that there is some significance to describing them as 2 olive trees and 2 lampstands. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, true olive trees represent the 12 tribes of Yasharal, and lampstands or golden lampstands will prove to represent the multitude, with representation from every nation, kindred, and tongue who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father and who come to accept Yahushua as Messiah, as Mashiach. I am compelled to believe we will soon see the last 2 shepherds of Yasharal emerge. But back to the matter of trees, I challenge you to think of all the qualities a tree brings to our natural survival and see if you can manage your thoughts such that they begin to think of all the qualities of a person who is a living tree sent from the Spirit of Yahushua, what they too will provide as being led. In other words, my brothers and sisters, if you can think about all the different resources and values that you can get from a tree, use that same frame of mind to begin to think of all the resources that one may come to learn and receive from a person who is close to the living words of the Most High, from a person who is as a tree planted by rivers of water. My brothers and sisters, it's time to stop taking things for granted. It's time for us to realize the importance of all the resources that have been presented before us. Consider the trees, the natural trees, and those who exhibit actions that could be reflective of being strong spiritual trees, planted by the rivers of water, or living water, which is representative of the word of the Most High. Soon and very soon, the strength of these words will spread across those who will be among the children of obedience, those who will participate in the final exodus. I strongly encourage you to ask yourself, why did this message reach your ears? I pray that you're able to discern and understand much of what is coming. I pray that you will continue to be mindful of what is required of us, what must and will be done. Will you begin to take a moment to consider the trees? A storm is coming, and it will intensify with each passing moment. Choose wisely whom you will serve. Seek earnestly to discern and understand what must be done. Remember, humbling times are coming, of which will prove to produce the need to consider the trees from a natural perspective and spiritual awakening. Trees will play a significant role in our journey and once we reach our final destination, upon the completion of that final exodus. There will be righteous guidance and leadership directed by those chosen and led by the Spirit of Yahushua our Messiah. Humbling conditions and events will prove these words to be true. Let us take heed to living instructions and guidance. Let us pay attention to the warnings that are going forth, my brothers and sisters. Until next time, stay tuned as more instructions and warnings will follow within this series entitled Extinction Protocols, Preparing for Transitions. Shalom, shalom, shalom.